Okay, everyone. I am so excited. It's Sharon from the Joy Mentor, bringing you a message that we hope with all the messages that you're listening to, that you're really getting some incredible tips on actual things you can do to live a better life and to be happy in our current environment, especially. So today I'm extremely excited. I'm talking to one of my favorite people, Jana Short. So I'm going to read her bio so that I do her justice. Jana Short is a renowned global influencer and mindset coach in the health and wellness industry. She is an NLP, RTT practitioner, best-selling author, public speaker, and Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast host, one of my favorites, and Best Holistic Life magazine editor. Jana currently works creating online global influencers, teaching her clients to not only remove blocks that are holding them back, but how to start that love affair with your potential online clients. She has recently been recognized and featured in Monica Garg's Influential Women of the World Global Influencers 2020. Las Vegas Entrepreneurs Magazine, Top 25 Entrepreneurs for 2020 issue, and the cover of December's Best Holistic Life magazine. Jana is getting the message of hope out in the world in a huge way, changing the world one health expert at a time. Hi, Jana.
Hi, that was a lot.
But you are so amazing. It takes a lot, right? It
Thank
takes
you.
a lot. You have so many accomplishments. You are such a great example to women out here. And I know your story is amazing on how you started this journey to help other women. So if you could tell us a little bit about how this whole thing began.
I would love to, because I think our stories are super powerful. It's our uniqueness. It's our beacon of light we put out in the world to reach other people. So I love sharing my story, but I didn't always love sharing my story. But when I did share my story, let me tell you, it opened up so much to me. And a little bit about my background is I was an interior designer. It's what I went to school for. It's what I did. I was pretty successful here in Los Angeles. But I got sick and it displaced me because I was literally told there was no hope for me and I would die shortly. And 2 months in the hospital, I came home after that thinking I'd rather be home and, be in a comfortable place. So I came home literally to die. And my daughter had a new baby. So it was our 5th grandchild. And I was there when he was born and then 8 weeks in the hospital. So he was 9 weeks old and she brought him to visit me. And I remember looking at him thinking, how will he remember me? He will not remember like the most simplest things of what it sounds like when I laugh or how I smelled or how it felt to be hugged by his grandma. And I was desperate to make a memory with this child before I left this earth. So I started searching online for health answers. And I literally typed into my keyboard, desperate for health answers, and looking for alternative options to give myself enough time to create a memory. I never in my wildest dreams, believed I would be here 10 years later, but here I am because I was told by some pretty incredible doctors that there was no hope. So my message has always been since that moment that there is hope. And I wanted to let people understand that I'm not like some miracle woman. I didn't grow my stomach back. Part of my illness, I had to have my stomach completely removed, which meant I could not be fed or given nutrients because the stuff they give you through a PICC line called TPN is synthetic, and my body said no, and my organs were shutting down because of it. But I am no different than anyone else. My stomach didn't grow back. Here I am. I lived through my 50s, having the best decade of my life. I'm getting ready to hit 60 in a few months. And I just can't wait. I just know it's going to be even better. And I don't live now every day thinking how much more time. I live every day thinking how many more memories can I cram into this moment, right? So it led me to creating so many platforms to give people an opportunity to share their uniqueness online. Because when I started working online, all I wanted to do was help, right? And get that message out like I know a lot of you do. And yet nobody saw me because this is a really saturated space. And if people like me can't find unique people like you, then that's sad because I found a very unique person who helped me create health and wellness in my life and thrive in my diagnosis. Like I said, I didn't cure myself. My stomach didn't grow back. I still have a lot of the same symptoms, but I'm here 10 years later making the most incredible memories ever. So that's just a little bit about my background and what brought me here.
I love your story, Jana, and it is what makes you so unique. You're an incredible woman that has overcome so much, and that really is, for the rest of us, that is an incredible thing to be a part of and to be able to hear. And I know you did a lot of it through having a very positive mindset. Would you mind sharing with all of us what you do to stay in a positive mindset?
Oh, absolutely, because mindset is key to everything. It really, truly is. And I really didn't understand that or tap into it till I was 50, even though I was raised to always, if I were to say something negative, my mom or dad would stop me and say, be careful what you speak, you get the words of your mouth. And so I was always really careful to what I spoke. Like, I'm going to get an A in math. I know I'm going to get an A. I'm going to get an A plus. I'm going to kill that exam. But I had that monkey voice in my head that said, what are you kidding me? You didn't even really study. Like, math is not your thing. You are not getting an A. So my mouth was speaking the correct words, but my mindset really wasn't there yet. And I didn't know how to stop that monkey voice. And it wasn't until that flip of a switch when I was sitting at my keyboard trying to find a way to exist long enough to create a memory that I stopped focusing on the death sentence that I was given, right? That didn't even come into play. And nor did I believe that I would survive. I literally had my mind focus one memory to the next. How do I create something with my grandkids? And I realized how the mind works. And let me just tell you a little secret about your beautiful brain. It is there to keep you alive. It's there to protect you and keep you alive. It doesn't know any different. So I'm going to give you an example. I go to work and I just hate my boss, hate them. And every day I come home and I'm thinking in my head over and over how miserable I am at my job. If I have to go in there one more day and face him, I'm just going to shoot myself. I just cannot stand this anymore. All legitimate thoughts if you hate your boss, but your mind doesn't know that that threat isn't a reality. And so you start getting sick symptoms. So you don't have to go in, your brain will say, I don't want you to be killed. I don't want you to have a miserable day. I'm going to keep you safe. So I'm going to give you a really bad bout of the stomach flu, or I'm going to make you have anxiety issues, right? I'm going to keep you safe at home. Our brain doesn't know any different. So you create these beautiful blueprints and it's so easy. You like take little teeny bite sizes. For instance, with me getting well, I literally plastered notes all over my house. So when I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, there's signs on my mirror that says, you've got this, Jana, you've got today. What incredible message are you going to get out into the world? I don't even see them anymore because they've been there for so long, but my mind's eye does. And it starts creating that beautiful blueprint to where I want to see myself going. And it has opened up a new world to me. And so I learned about NLP, which I wish they taught in school for children. And all it is how to listen to people's words, make sure that we're receiving what they're really saying. And our words are addressed in a different way. Like, when I say something, it might sound like something to someone else, but I meant it in a totally different way. So NLP is really important. You get into the mind, you get into reading people, and you really engage with them. And if kids had that skill and ability, and they started learning that at a really young age, it would really help them in their future. The other thing I learned was rapid transformational therapy, which is RTT, and I love it so much. And I literally stumbled onto it by accident, although I don't think there's any accidents in this world. But rapid transformational therapy really helps you remove those blocks. I'll use another example. Someone told me when I was doing rapid transformational therapy, I had a money block. And I said, you're crazy. I have money. I'll take your money. I have no money block. And yet when I went through the therapy, which is very quick, that's why the word rapid is in the front of it, I heard my mother's voice. And I heard her doing what a lot of moms in my generation did. And I was asking about going to college and how can I get to college? And she warned me, be careful. If you're too educated, you will make your partner, your husband, feel insecure. You can't be more educated than your husband. You can't compete with men because they will look down on you. You can't make more money than your husband. He'll feel unmanly. My mom wasn't being mean. She wanted me to have what she saw as a perfect life, right? Which really wasn't my life, or is even a real life when you think about it. But that was a block for me. And I realized at that moment, oh my goodness, when I'm in a boardroom with men, I do hold back because I don't want to misstep or have them feel a certain way. And I don't really speak my truth, which is kind of genius when you think about the fact that what I had value, but I thought it might not. And I removed that block. And here's the thing with rapid transformational therapy. I came to my desk the next day. I looked on the computer and all these opportunities were there that had always been there, but I couldn't see them. That's how my magazine got started. I kept pushing it aside. Oh, I can never do a magazine. Who could do a magazine? My magazine's just a year old, December 21st, so it's not quite a year old, and I already have 140,000 subscribers to it. So it was there all along, but my block was keeping me from moving forward on it or even seeing it. So those two things, as far as mapping your mind, removing blocks that are held in there, something that was told to you as a child, that you saw as a child, but now you're an adult, right? There's nothing holding you back. You have control over everything. And readdressing that, reframing it, and moving it into something else. So that's kind of what I do with mindset.
Jana, that's incredible. I think about what you said about children and if they had the ability to have that connection, because I love children and it's a part of my work, and it's something that I do is really focus on how we can have them feel connected, even if it's just to one more person, because I do think they're getting lost. Like, I love your feeling on that. And the other thing is, lady, you are amazing, but we all know really at this point that people, what's going on in their subconscious mind is dictating their life. It took me a great teacher to help me understand that I was literally being run by my neurology because I wasn't able at that point to understand what was going on. I just thought all these automatic things kept happening to me and that I was a victim. And it really took me that entire turnaround to start to understand that I'm co-creating my life and that we really are in charge. But like what you do with the rapid transformational therapy is incredible. And that would be a gift to everyone who got involved in it. By the way, everyone, I want you to know that Jana's website is right down below. And we're going to talk about, she's not giving you just one gift, she's giving you 2 free gifts that we'll talk about at the end of this. But I want you to know that her website is right down below. Okay, next question. Jana, you are obviously shining light and you are always a happy person. So I want to know what you do to keep your happiness going, your happiness factor going every day.
Well, I just want to tell you, I'm not always a happy person because I'm normal, right? And we are going to have those moments of feeling defeated or beaten up on ourselves. The important thing is I don't live in that space. I feel it really quickly. I process it, I reframe it, and I move out of it because that's not where I didn't survive to be in that space. I survived to be in a space of joy and to create joyful memories. So it's okay. It's okay that you get depressed. It's okay that you feel like you're a failure from time to time. It's okay. The thing is, you don't want to live there. You want to reframe it. And I don't use the word failure. I use the word feedback because I didn't fail at anything. I got incredible feedback that pushed me into something even greater. So be grateful for all that feedback. You probably need it. And it means that something big is out there for you, right? So all that feedback you're getting is so that you can adjust and pivot and get to that beautiful sweet spot that you were looking to get into. But when I try to stay positive, a lot of it is that mind mapping that I do. I wake up feeling positive. I go to bed like thinking about positive things. I have those little messages all over. I feed myself positive. When someone comes into my life negative, I reflect positive back on them as a mirror. And I promise you, when you do that, you'll notice a change in them. How many times are you super excited and pumped and you're at a place and people are like, oh my God, I love being around you. I was feeling so miserable and I just left like flying high. I reflect that positive back. And if for some reason they're not in a space to change it, I do remove myself from that space. And it doesn't mean I remove myself from that person or give up on them. It's just that they're not ready to have that reframing go on. And so I might step away for a little while and just send those little messages of love and hope to them until they're ready to receive that. But what you reflect back into the world is going to really dictate what you draw to you. So I totally am reflecting back that positive feeling. I definitely do journaling. Journaling is not my thing, but I did it. And let me tell you what magical thing happened. When my mom passed away, my mom wasn't I love you, you're so amazing, I'm so proud of you. She was tough. She was a single mom for a lot of years. And it was like, get up, brush yourself off, and get going. Do not let that stop you. And so she was really tough, but she journaled for like 2 days. She decided she was going to do a gratitude journal, and literally had 2 days and could not finish it. But when she passed, my sister found this book, and her gratitude journal was the biggest gift to us. And it was only 2 days. I can't even imagine should she have done it forever. But there were little messages in there like, oh my gosh, my favorite thing about Jana, I'm so grateful that she calls me at work for no reason at all, but just to say, hey, mom. And I literally cut that little quote out of her book. We took pictures, cut our quotes out, and put our favorite picture with her and the quote underneath. And I see that every day. So she gave me this beautiful gift afterwards of the love and touching that she didn't do when she was here because she didn't know how. So I write journals all the time, and I leave messages for my kids and my grandkids because I know one day they're going to get those journals. And not only is it therapeutic for me to be putting that down, but I know that one day those are going to be little bits of jewels when I'm not here to say, you got this, you can keep doing this, I'm so proud of you. It's going to be in that beautiful journal. So journaling to me is super important, and it gives me a really positive mindset for the day. So I journal every morning, but that's one of my favorite things to do to keep my mindset in a great place.
Jana, I love that. And I love leaving messages for those that we love. I've done that for my children too, and left little things. If they ever get into this position, then here's what, what I would do, and to let them know how precious they are. But I haven't heard someone else who actually did it with that beautiful intent, where you're actually leaving it for children and grandchildren. That's beautiful. And I love how you took what happened with your mom and you took the very best out of it and made that photo for yourself of her and that saying underneath. Like, those are a lot of incredible things for us to do, but it really shows how you take the positive out of everything that's going on. And I think that's one of the things. We are a mess, right? We're a human mess. I know I've got good feelings, bad feelings, anger, I've got happiness, I've got joy, I've got excitement, but I'm all of it. I'm not just part of it. It took me a long time to embrace that side of myself, to where there was the dark too, because I just wanted it to be the light. And so I love what you said about we're not always happy. I want people to understand that. I think that's one of the things you and I had talked about, how people compare themselves to people outside of them, and how destructive that can be. And so pulling it back inside and doing what we can to reflect that back, that's a great tip, because I do believe what we put out comes back, as I know you do too. And so you can see it shining in your face, what you put out to everyone every day. This is why she's one of my favorite people. I also wanted to find out in this time, we have really been through a lot as a society, both with COVID and just there's so many things going on in our world. There's so many things even right now. We're both in California and we have the fires going on around us. And so many people their homes are being disturbed and their way of life is being upset. So if you could talk to us a little bit about how you have taken care of yourself and how you practice self-care during some of these really difficult things that we've all been going through together.
I would love to talk to you about that. One of the things that I like to tell people is our bodies are beautiful and we've been living with them since birth. So who knows them better than we do? And when you start having something happen, I promise you, it didn't just happen. Like one day I had a massive heart attack. Your body gives you this beautiful intuition. Something doesn't feel right. Something's different. And you might even go to the doctors, because this happened to me. I went to the doctors, your blood work's fine, everything's good. and I think you're having problems with your asthma. I've never had asthma, right? But it made sense. So I walked out, but intuitively, I knew something wasn't right. And I should have just said, right there, spoke up for myself and said, something doesn't feel right. Here's what happens. Once we get that intuitive thought something's not right and we don't act on it, the next thing that happens is we get symptoms, right? Our body starts giving us these little symptoms. So now we think something's not right, but hey, this is happening that didn't happen before. But here's what's my thing. I'm too busy. I am so busy. I do not have time to go back to the doctor. She already said this. And I ignored it. I ignored these symptoms. And I said, no, I'm not going back because I'm too busy to take care of myself. And the next thing that happened, I got something more serious. So the incident I'm talking about is I have something called factor V Leiden, which I didn't know at the time. And it's a blood clotting disorder and it's genetic. And it just means that my blood clots. It likes to clot. But if your blood likes to clot, that's fatal for you. It means you get pulmonary embolisms. I literally had a clot go to my brain and had a stroke. But that was after I found out what was going on. But I knew something intuitively wasn't wrong. How would I know, right? How would I know there was a blood clotting issue? It could be asthma. And I took my inhaler, but then my symptoms got worse where I literally couldn't walk from my bed to the door because I was lose my breath and I would almost pass out. But I ignored it. They said it's asthma. I just kept using the inhaler instead of going back. Thank goodness my husband's in the medical field. He's a veterinarian, but he can tell when someone's in distress. And he saw me in bed and I literally couldn't roll over. And I'm like, I have an appointment tomorrow. I'm just going to wait. He rushed me to the emergency room. I had multiple pulmonary embolisms in both lungs. Had I gone to sleep, I wouldn't have woke up. So that was a awakening moment for me that I listened to my intuitiveness. And as moms, have you ever seen your child and they walk in, you're like, ooh, something's not right. I know they're coming down with something. It's in their eyes or it's in their, like, I can just feel something's not right. And you're immediately checking them and giving them juice or fluids and you know something's not right. And you'll fight for them. If you go to the doctors and they're like, no, she looks fine. Nope, I'm telling you, something's not right. And as a parent, we will fight for our child. I'm asking you to treat yourself like a parent. Start fighting for yourself. Because that is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. It's the most selfless thing you can do because I can't show up for my grandkids. And I found that out when I got very ill. I can't show up for my children or my husband or my friends. I can't show up and be myself if I don't take care of myself. So I listen to those intuitive things. I now fight for myself. If I feel like, nope, something's not right and I'm not leaving until we figure this out, I do that, but I really listen to that intuitive voice inside of me. It has always been right. I literally, people say, well, I'm not intuitive. I'm telling you, you are. We're all very intuitive. And for those of you who are parents, you're going to know, like, you know, which child's lying to you when you're asking 4 of them who did this. You immediately know, like, okay, I know it was you. So you do have this intuitiveness, and I want you to start listening to that. I want you to start taking care of yourself and showing yourself the love. And whatever you need to hear, if you need to hear from your husband, look, you look beautiful today, tell yourself that. Get in the mirror and say, dang, you look good, girl. Keep going, right? Why are we waiting for other people to give us that prompt when we could be just telling ourselves that? Great job on your schoolwork today if you're back in school. I went back to school at 50 and I'm going back again because I decided I wanted to be a therapist, a hypnotherapist. And so I'm going back for 2 more years of school. It's never too late to continue those things and tell yourself those things. You want your boss to say, dang, good job. That was awesome. I love this. Tell yourself that. Don't wait for someone else to give you those words. That's part of your self-care, is feeding yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, those beautiful things. And if someone's not doing that for you, do it for yourself.
Oh, Anna, I hope everyone hears exactly what you're saying. For one thing, that has to be the greatest health tip that anyone could ever be given, is to listen inside to their intuition, because our bodies are so wise. And I know for me, as a high-powered executive, I was going like 15, 16 hours a day. My body was sending me several signals telling me to slow down. And I ended up being like a fly splat on the wall and then just coming down with diverticulitis in the hospital for 10 days, which I would have told you I don't have time to be in the hospital. But my body kept trying to get my attention. Being in a stressed out environment and not having the tools to care for myself really landed me with some physical obstacles. And if I had just listened, I know now it was there. It was telling me to slow down, but I didn't listen. So I love that you say that, because honestly, if anybody hears anything today here, please listen. Your body is wise and it's telling you what's going on. We've got to take care of ourselves, but that's a beautiful thing. And then the other thing is, it's so important that we stop looking outside of ourselves to get that validation and to really start loving ourselves. It seems like such a taboo in society for especially women. Like, we are really built to take care of everyone, but we're not really built to take care of ourselves. But it can happen through practice, which is what you and I know. And you and I had talked one time about the beautiful messages, like you leave yourself in your home. That's such an incredible thing to do. And I have dishes. You and I talked about this. I have dishes around my home with beautiful messages on them, and I put them everywhere. So no matter where I turn, I see something positive. It doesn't mean I don't have down moments, but at least when I can look at that, it gives me this affirmation of like, oh, Sharon, you're responsible for your mindset. You're okay. You're all right. Go ahead, go forward, take a risk. Everything's going to be okay. So I love it when you talk about that with all of us. And I wanted to know, because you had to go through some incredible fear to get a diagnosis that you're not going to make it from the doctors. I mean, I really hope people are understanding that you were sent home to die. And here you are, beautiful in your gorgeous spirit 10 years later. So if you would talk to us about, how did you overcome the fears that you had to walk through? Because I know they were immense.
You know what? It was probably the darkest spot of my life, and I've been through some dark things. But I tell people, imagine what it would be like to be sentenced to death, and you're walking down that corridor to the gas chamber or whatever they have for you, and you just don't see an out. Like, you're surrounded by your diagnosis and you can't get away. And so I had that desperate, horrible feeling. And yes, if it wasn't for my grandson, I know I would have laid there and just let the clock tick off, because that's what I was told would happen, right? You're just going to waste away because you can't get nutrients in, everything will shut down. And I would have just sat there and waited for it, which a lot of us do. I really wish, if you get a diagnosis of cancer, don't ask, how long do I have? Because you just gave your brain an expiration date. And what happens if they say, oh, 4 to 6 weeks? 4 weeks hits, you're like, oh, my brain's like, I should be feeling worse. Like this, it starts preparing you for death. I refused to let my brain prepare me for death because I was going to create a memory. Honestly, I didn't think I would be here 10 years later because I didn't think about that far out. I thought about right now in this moment, what can I do right now? Worst case scenario, I died in 6 weeks. It would have been the best 6 weeks of my life because I was living in the moment. So I'm so grateful to say it's been the best 10 years so far, but it doesn't really matter if it's 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years. I know people who've lived 90 years, 99 years, and they say, I had a miserable life. I was miserable. I couldn't wait to be out of this world. I don't want that to be you. I want you to have so much joy and thrive in every single moment of your life. And it's really easy to do. It's so easy to do. And that's what I would love to see for all of you. It's like I said, it's easy. It's just a mindset trick that you're going to do. And I don't ever want to be that fearful again. I am no longer fearful of death because I face death. I know it's there. I know that that is our journey, right? We live, we die. And so I'm okay with that. What I'm not okay with is this moment, letting this beautiful moment that I'm gifted to go away. So I don't focus on that anymore. I just focus on the incredible moments here. And I have not had that kind of fear ever since.
God, I love that you said that about our brain. It's interesting. I've studied the placebo effect, right? Where you have people and they're literally told that they're going to die and they allow that to go into their minds and they die, like right exactly when the doctor said. And then there's other people where they are told that they've taken something, ingested something, which actually was a placebo that's going to heal them, and they become healed. And so our mind is so powerful. So I love that you're talking about that, because I think that's really an integral part of how people can help themselves do what you did, which is not only overcome, but overcome now, every minute now. And you have given us so much incredible information today that is truly helpful. I hope people watch this over and over again to go back, because I think every time they do and they listen to you, they're going to hear something else about how they can live a life more fulfilled and not let their mind and their fear overtake them and control them. So I want you to talk to them about the free gifts that you're giving them, which are incredibly generous. And the gifts, the link to the gifts is going to be right below this interview. So Jana, will you talk to us about not one, but two gifts that you're giving us?
So the first gift I'm giving you is called the power of your story. And I like people to understand that the story that you have is probably somebody else's miracle. They're just waiting to hear it. So your story is what sets you apart on social media. It's what makes you unique. Maybe other women have gone through breast cancer, right? But nobody has gone through breast cancer like you have. They've not gotten your story. And this, you just have to get out there and use your story as that beautiful beacon of light out into the world. And this helps you with your story. The second one I give you is it's a video series that I just recently created on how to become an influencer. And it's really important to me that I explain to you what an influencer is. It's exactly that. It's influencing people. How do you want to influence them? It's not having thousands of followers, right? It just means you're influencing thousands more people. But if you have 20 followers, if you have children, if you have friends, if you have coworkers, you're already an influencer. These are just tips on how to influence online, how to really stand out, get your message heard. It's what my clients pay me a ton of money to teach them. It's just 5 of those easy tips that get you started and really give you that uniqueness that you need to be set apart. It's always about being authentic, showing up to serve others, and making sure you're very clear on your message. So there's 5 tips in there in the video series.
Oh, Jana, that's what I want people to understand. I hope they all see your generosity of spirit, because you are literally a beacon of light in a time right now where we could all use more from all of our stories. So I love that. And I hope you all, please look below. Please click on that link and go to Jana's website. Jana, thank you so much for being with us and sharing yourself generously today with all of us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.